Cutter top 10, Cutter top 10. You know you liked it a lot. Time to see who is the best and the worst at stuff. You know, baseball, basketball, football, hockey, NASCAR, wrestling. If I have to, so please join me. Why don't you read? This is Cutter's top 10. Hey there, Heather, ho there! It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. We're ready to rumble! Oh! Hey there, Heather, ho there! It's Jeff Diamond with another top 10, and this time it's not a top 10, it's a top 15. Top 15 athletes whose careers have ended in disgrace. There were a lot of them. I couldn't do enough honorable mentions, so I did a top 15. There were two dishonorable mentions. There were Ray Rice. Well, this happened last year, of course, when you're caught on video dragging your unconscious wife out of an elevator. And indicted, despite the fact he married the victim, was suspended. He's trying to get a team, but you never know. The Ray Rice of Rutgers guy. And another dishonorable mention is Barry Bonds and his bout called Disgraced. But, of course, steroids always disgraceful. So here we go. Number 15 is Rick Kuhn, K-U-H-N. Not a member of the Green Bay Packers, but anyway. He was a promising star for Boston College. But he was told by mobsters to do point shaving during Boston College games in 1978-79. Now, here's the thing. Point shaving is that some sports have like a point spread. Say Golden State's at 13-point favorite over the Raptors, and a lot of people will bet for Golden State to beat Toronto. Point shaving would be that they would make the game close, and so the guys who pick the under actually get the money. Anyway, so he was sent to jail. I don't know for how long. Number 14, Danny Almonte. Almonte was a big league star in the making, with a fastball that was 75 miles per hour, and this is as a little leaguer. In opposing frame, he led his Bronx team to third place in the Little League World Series, and the team was honored at Yankee Stadium. But one problem though, it's weeks after the win, Sports Illustrated found out that Almonte was 2 years older than he claimed to be, making him ineligible for the team. Danny didn't know anything about his age. It was against the rules, and the team was forfeit third place. Now, of course, in 1992, a team from the Philippines had won the title, but had their performance forfeited because they had kids outside the city limits. So anyway, Danny couldn't do anything and is an assistant coach now. Anyway, Danny Almonte was cleared because he didn't know enough English to get by with the knowledge. His father knew something. Number 13 is Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson couldn't believe it, but his last fight was against Kevin McBride, and he forfeited the fight in the 7th round. But anyway, he was fighting to support himself financially. So anyway, Mike Tyson had hit rock bottom. I mean, he went to prison for raping a Miss Black America pageant contestant. He lost his heavyweight title, of course. It would have been nice to see Tyson Holyfield. We ended up seeing Tyson Holyfield, but Tyson just wasn't himself. Number 12, Boris Onisheko. You don't know who it is? Well, if you are a fan of the Olympic Games, like I am, you know it. Anyway, he was a 3-time world fencing champion who won silver in 72 in Munich, and then at 76 in Montreal, he was ready to go. As typical for the time, the swords were fixed so that a light would activate at a board whenever they scored a hit on an opponent. But Boris's sword was lighting up before he could even hit his foe, so there was pretty much something wrong with it. But his epee, or the sword, was gimmicked to make sure that he got a hit at his opponent. He was DQ'd, and the Soviets ended up losing. Well, it was at the modern pentathlon. Like, you get, I think it's 5 or 7 events, but the modern pentathlon has riding and swimming around it, but fencing. Of course, the Soviets were DQ'd alongside Oroshenko. And of course, Russia was not happy with it. They condemned him, and they threatened to throw him off the balcony if he ever returned to the hotel. In Moscow, the premier, Brezhnev, stripped him of his honors, fined him 5,000 rubles, and gave the Olympian a cab driver job in Kiev, Ukraine. Amazing. Number 11, Zidane. His last game was the 2006 final against Italy for France. It was amazing. He was ready to go. But then in the 110th minute, Zidane got in a fight with Marco Materazzi, and then Zidane headbutted Materazzi, making the Zidane shot headbutting all the rage. He was tossed out, obviously, for his red card. Zidane's career was over. Zidane would have gotten a 3-game suspension like Materazzi, but because his career ended, he had to do community service of a certain kind. So anyway, Materazzi was kind of at fault. Like, right, conning at Zidane. Anyway, egging him on, if you will. Number 10, Ben Johnson. Oh, Canada. This doesn't look good. Ben Johnson won the 100-meter dash in the Olympics in Seoul, Korea, and we were all happy, especially after he won the World Championships in '87. But unfortunately, a couple days later, he got tested positive for steroids, and Ben Johnson had to admit them in a trial. The Charlie Francis affair. The Dreyfus affair or something. I don't know what it was. I know there was a famous name for it. The Dublin Inquiry. That's it. So, of course, he was stripped of his medals and records. Ben Johnson came back. He actually made the semifinals of the 92 100 meters and was clean. But, unfortunately, he doped again. And 2 strikes, you're out. And, of course, Ben Johnson tells everyone that in 1988, everybody did drugs in the 100 meters. And they did this nice 30 for 30 about it. And he was right. Number 9, Danny McLean. Danny McLean was huge. 31 wins in 1968 and helped the Tigers win the World Series. Amazing. And he also won the MVP / Cy Young. But unfortunately, in 2 years, he was in trouble for gambling, putting a gun in his luggage, and a lot of other moments. And dousing Detroit beat writers with a bucket of water. So anyway, the gambling course was huge because McLean missed a few starts because of some toe injury, but of course McLean claimed that he injured himself watching a TV show, whereas of course gamblers stepped on his foot. Of course, he went from the most wins to the most losses. At the age of 29, he was toast. He ended up being convicted of embezzlement, racketeering, and drug trafficking, and sentenced to 23 years in prison, I think. Number 8, Marion Jones. Marion Jones was the fastest woman alive, and she won 3 gold medals at the 2000 Summer Games in Sydney. She kept denying drugs, but in 2007 she admitted it was all true because she took steroids during the Olympics and many other times. How the heck she got through the drug testing, we never know. She was stripped and banned from the sport. But the problem was that, in addition to that, she had to go to prison for 6 months because she had lied to a grand jury. She tries to make her restitution, but I don't know if that's worked out. Number 7, Oscar Pistorius. Everyone knows about this guy. He actually made the South African Olympics team in the 400 meters with his prosthetic legs and kept winning medals at the Paralympics. He did pretty good. And he was even given the task of carrying his nation's flag for the closing ceremony. And it looked like he was going to get a lot of fans. However, there was trouble because on Valentine's Day 2014, he murdered his girlfriend. He always claimed there was an accident, but convicted and imprisoned. Basically, he was charged with culpable manslaughter, so he might be serving a lot of jail time. You never know. Number 6, Tanya Harding. She was one of the best skaters of all time. She didn't have beauty, she didn't have artistry, but she was damn good when she had to. Of course, Tanya Harding having a hard life and being an asthmatic didn't really help much. There's a lot of criminal schemes she tried to get ahead in. And when one U.S. figure skating challenge opened in '93, she said that there was a death threat phoned in on her if she skated. And of course, she automatically went through to the U.S. Open. She didn't have to go U.S. Championships, which was the springboard for the Olympics. Anyway, the bomb threat was actually discovered. FBI said it was her doing. And then, of course, she helped out in the attack. She was helping, but we don't know to what degree. So anyway, in the attack to Nancy Kerrigan by her ex-husband, of course, trying to get her on the Olympic team. It didn't work out. Kerrigan got on the U.S. Olympic team anyway and took second place behind Oksana Bayul, who also had a terrible story. Anyway, Harding came apart at the seams at the Olympics, saying that she had a broken lace in her skate and she couldn't do her job. Anyway. Number 5, Aaron Hernandez. I don't like to talk about Aaron Hernandez. Thank God Rob Gronkowski has become the tight end of the Pats. So anyway, he got linked to a double homicide. That nothing came of it. But in 2013, he was arrested for killing Odin Lloyd. Trouble is that Hernandez's life fell apart because he was found guilty of first-degree murder and now has a life sentence. Well, I mean, Gronkowski won a Super Bowl ring. I guess you can thank Hernandez for that. Number 4, Peter Rose. A lot of people say he's innocent. Oh, yeah, right. He's not in the Hall of Fame at Cooperstown for one damn reason. He bet on baseball, and according to the baseball rules, you can't do that, especially after the 8 Black Sox 8-man out in 1919. But anyway, he admitted to bet on his own team. Not just baseball, but on his own team, which was double whammy. He keeps trying, but it's not going to happen. He does have 3 World Series rings and a 17-time All-Star appearances, and that won't be taken away from him. The problem is that he tried to ignore it and deny, but in 2004 he finally admitted it. Pete Rose is in a Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame, that is, in the celebrity ring, for pissing off Boston fans at WrestleMania 14 in '98. And of course, Kane tombstoned him. Thank God for that. Number 12, Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong, everyone was saying he had performance-enhancing drugs. I mean, from a guy who comes back from cancer to win 7 straight Tour de France titles, something seemed vicious. Unfortunately, on Oprah's show, he admitted it. And he got stripped of every Tour de France victory. Sponsors didn't like him. His Livestrong cancer thing went downhill, but I think it's back up to a certain respectable level because, I mean, you know, it's cancer. Can't deny that. So anyway, Lance Armstrong went from having 1 nut to probably having 0 nuts. You never know. Number 2, Shoeless Joe Jackson. The White Sox finally won the World Series in 2005. The strange thing is that for however long everyone said the Cristo the Bambino for Boston, the White Sox actually last won the World Series before 2005 in 1917, a year before the Bull Sox did. So anyway, thanks to the Black Sox, there was a lot of trouble. 8 White Sox players had conspired with gamblers to throw the 1919 World Series to the Reds. Well, one of them actually had previous knowledge, but got booted because he didn't tell anybody. The reason why the Black Sox were with us is because some say it was because of Charles Comiskey and his penny pinching ways and his managing to take advantage of people with bad educations. So anyway, Joe Jackson and everyone else was banned from baseball. And of course, Field of Dreams helped him out in the movie world. And at number 1, Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit took wrestling seriously. He didn't protect himself from chair shots or his headbutt. He took a lot of bumps with intensity. Oh, that's a good thing. But the problem was that he gave WWE a big black eye. Less than 2 years after Eddie Guerrero's heart attack, Benoit no-showed I think it was the Great American Bash in 2007 or whatever, or Vengeance, whatever that pay-per-view was in June, that he was going to be given the ECW championship. WWE wanted to know where he was for his own well-being, and then lo and behold, we find out that Chris Benoit killed his wife and son before taking his own life in a double murder suicide in Atlanta. It's just amazing. Well, WWE erased him from his history. You can still see Chris Benoit matches online. Well, obviously, they're not going to rip apart the 2004 Royal Rumble when he went. Chris Benoit was from Canada, Edmonton and Montreal. So basically, Chris Benoit just ruined everything for him. It was actually revealed that Chris Benoit, his problem was because of all the hard bumps he took on the head and all that his brain was just contused. And Chris Nowitzki, who used to be a WWE wrestler himself and alumnus from Harvard, took a look and said, yeah, Chris Benoit's head injuries. And I think WWE has changed their head injury protocol, obviously because of Chris Benoit's deteriorating brain. So that's all there is for these top 10s. There will be more top 10s coming up soon enough.